time.
It is time, and
It
we're
is
live.
time. Oh no. Hold on, let me put my work away. Oh my goodness. No rest for the wicked. Is that what the
No,
saying is?
something like that. Something like
Right.
that. Oh my God. Are my
Uh,
notifications going to go out? No, they're
right,
not, because why should they?
right, exactly. Why would we need notifications to
Yeah,
go out?
fuck this crap.
Ha.
Let's see. I am waking up.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this working early thing, I mean, it is very helpful, but yeah, the waking up is early is a little overrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should probably
Yeah.
do this. Good morning,
Okay.
everyone. It is June 17th, 2024, and this is the Raging 2, the vlogs.
Oh no.
That means something.
It means something. But what does it
It
mean?
means something. I don't know. You want to
Right.
just start?
Yeah, sure.
Well, here we go.
Trigger warning, fuck you.
Yo, good morning.
What a way to start a Monday, huh?
Oh, it is Monday.
Yeah. Is it
It's
Monday? Yes, it is
confusing.
Monday.
It's
Yeah.
very confusing. Siege moment
Right.
throws me off.
Oh, okay. Oh, I hope everything's okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's
There was no sleep last night.
oh. In a good
Yeah.
way or a bad way?
In a way.
In a way. Oh well. So who's joining us in the chat today? The notifications come out.
I guess they did, because Joseph is here. Good morning,
Oh, hello, Joseph.
And
Hello.
there's eyeball people, but other people
Oh.
don't want to talk to us this early in the
Oh
morning. They're like,
no.
these
Yes.
two bitches
Hello.
again.
On a Monday. Well, although supposedly it's a short week again. Because of Wednesday is a holiday, I guess. So I don't know. So hello,
Morning, Mark.
Imaginos, hello. And yes, we definitely see your beautiful eyeball people watching us from regions beyond. If you are joining us from Facebook, if you're joining us from LinkedIn, come on over to YouTube. Keep everybody, keep the sexy people, keep Joseph
And Mark, and everybody
and Mark
happy in our
and everybody.
chat.
Yeah, it's like keep them company in the chat, And while you're here, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you get notified. You get notified whenever any of our shows go live. Jesus Christ! Like I said, waking up early, as productive as it is a little overrated. But the thing is, though, it's rated correctly, I think. Because I certainly have found I've been getting a lot more work done when we start our day early than if we start at around like 4:00, and then it's like it's backwards for us.
It really is. It really is. I'm much more productive this way.
Yeah, and we just get more stuff done, and that's just it's just nice. So might as well get this party started. Hello, everyone. My name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I have been self-publishing comics since 1992. And you know what that means.
Valar Morghulis.
Valar Duharis.
And I am known for the furry fantasy adventure Tall Tales and my medieval fantasy drama Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, which is currently on Kickstarter right now. Oh, that's what I forgot to do. I forgot to put the link in the chat, but the link is in the show notes. Thank you so much to, I think, the 61 people who have pledged to the campaign so far. We are 83 backers away from breaking the backer record from the previous volume 1. So thank you so much. There's still plenty of time to pledge, but why wait? But in the meantime, you can read both my comics online at egoworks.com. That's EGOWORKS, and Tall Tales. That's TAILS online.com. And you can check out all my videos on how I make my comics here on YouTube at Daphne Lage, Lage Art, where you can find an archive of almost 600 videos and live streams in my, on my channel that you could watch at your leisure. And it also simulcasts through the Indie Comics Network. So I have to tell you more about it. Here's Nita.
Indie Comics Network is a channel I own. My name is Nita Lanning, and I am a fucking something. I've been labeled a marketer, so I'm just gonna roll with that. I'm a marketer for several small press publishing companies like Ethereal Comics, Lone Wolf Comics, and Salterra Comics. You can find me all over fucking social media doing my smut peddling.
Oh no!
Yeah, that's my new profession, smut peddling.
Right. Well, hey, but you do it so well.
Thank you.
I mean, it's like you really figured out that, or at least you tried to tame the Facebook beast in order to do your job.
It's
right? Yeah. And where can everybody find you?
IndieComicsNetwork.com.
It's .com. Cut.
Oh my god, I never grow tired of that. Back when the internet was young and new and innocent.
Oh, innocent.
Well, no, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. All you youngins don't know the horror that is goat say. Before Rick rolling changed the game. Oh my goodness. Now you can't even do a proper Rick roll because of all the automatic ads.
Oh my god, right. It always warns you and everything.
Right. So it's like, yeah, it's not fun anymore, but hey. Oh my goodness. So so what's going on with you, Nita? Let's talk about you for today. Let's talk about you for a change. Let's start the day with you. What's going on with you?
You didn't prepare me for this.
I don't know.
What's going on with me? My same old bullshit. I am doing background work for different companies, marketing. I've got several active campaigns. Well, actually 2 main active campaigns right now. That would be Fallen Leaves issue 3. And let's see, Alton Spec issue 1.
Beautiful book. Yeah.
Oh yeah, beautiful book.
Right.
Both have beautiful fucking pages in them, and both are sexy.
Right. Yeah.
Very sexy.
So one's a fantasy, one's a sci-fi, so a little bit of everything for everybody there.
I like to vary.
Right. Yeah. There you go. Well, that's good. So just in the end, just keeping busy, right?
Yeah. And then I've got like a lot of background shit with editing and stuff going on right now. So it's like nonstop. And then I've been downsizing a lot of my social media. I'm finding where I'm most productive, and I'm going to put more effort into that.
Right. Yeah.
And downsizing certain things that don't work to my advantage. It's like it's like this now. Like, I hate to sound like a cunt, but it's like it needs to bring me happiness or money. Right. It brings me both, even better.
Right. So, no, exactly. Yeah.
So like the things that I was devoting my time to that brought me neither happiness nor money.
Right.
I'm kind of like be gone with you. Be gone with you, time wasting shit show.
No, it's yeah.
So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
I mean, it's like, especially since like
a lot of reassessing.
Yeah. Especially since the last couple of shows we have been talking about, how important it is to do that, especially with the whole Kara thing. I'm not going to get into. If you want to learn more about Kara, we have previous episodes where we talked about it more in detail. But the thing is, though, it's it really is important to reassess like what you're doing online and whether you're wasting your time or not, and to be realistic as to like what your expectations are
Right.
for certain platforms. Or else you're just going to drive yourself crazy, and it's very easy, and with like new platforms popping up and
Right.
acting up, it's very easy to drive yourself crazy. Because it's like that's certainly what I've been doing ever since my campaign started. So,
Hey, William.
hey, which is it's the anxiety that always, like I said, I do these campaigns. This is my 15th, 6th, I don't even remember, it's around 15th, I think it's 16th campaign, solo campaign, and every time it's like a nerve-wracker, and it's like I start getting very existentialist during a campaign.
Yeah.
Like it just becomes the longest 32 days. Nita has to listen to me.
It's okay. It's okay.
Have a I don't know, like a mid-campaign crisis during each campaign.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, you really threw me off my box this morning.
Well,
like, you just threw off my whole vibe, Daphne. I don't even know what to do now.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
let's talk about you. What?
Well, it was just, it was just like, look, sometimes it feels like we start the show and I just end up just going straight into my bullshit, and it just feels like sometimes I don't let you talk. So
I know how to talk.
Well,
I know how to talk.
Right. Yeah, and just to warn everybody, it is hot in the in the office again.
So if we start taking off our clothes, don't complain.
No, that's not good. No. So
just a little peek,
it just takes, what it is. Ever since we started getting up early, right? It made me a little bit more conscious about like how the day progresses in the office. Because in the morning, it's actually really nice in here.
Right.
It's like it's nice and cool, it's and then it's like as the sun reaches its zenith, it's like that's when it's like, oh wow, okay, now it's getting like warm in here, because usually after the show is when it starts to cool down again. So that's why I usually don't hello HR, that's why I usually don't put on like the AC or anything, because there's no reason to. It's just going to be on for an hour, when it's just going to cool down again, but you guys get the pleasure of watching me sweat profusely on camera.
It's hot.
With my little towels that I always have, on my table, and remember to stay hydrated. So so speaking of social media, right? Like, and reassessing social media, and also in accordance with my Kickstarter anxiety, I caught a video the other day on YouTube from this artist that I follow, Kelsey Rodriguez. She's a fine artist. She made her name on YouTube, and she was giving her opinion about the whole Kara thing. Like I said, I'm not getting into any more detail about Kara. It's a new platform. All the artists are there because of Meta AI, and that's pretty much the extent of it. And, and people are saying that they're going to delete their Instagram accounts and all that, blah, blah, blah. So she was talking, giving her 2 cents on the matter, right? And pretty much what it boiled down to is that she thinks that pretty much everyone's wasting their time.
Just saying. Did I not spit that last week?
Right, exactly. And she's just out, and she says, look, it's like, look, I don't give a shit. And just like with us, we don't give a shit if you use it, don't use it, whatever, right? But
if it works for you, great.
Right. But the thing is that her whole thing, right, is that she was saying the problem is that all these artists are moving to Kara and projecting expectations on it that don't exist. And, they're expecting Kara to be, it's an Instagram killer. And she goes like, you know what? Already that's your mistake number one, right? An independent platform is not the same as a platform that's backed by $1 billion company. and it's never going to be. It's never going to be the same. And to treat it like it's going to be the same is absolutely foolhardy, right? Mm-hmm. So she wasn't even talking about glaze or anything, whatever. She wasn't even talking about that concern, because that it really, her point was this. She goes, the problem with artists, and she was talking about artists specifically, but if this resonates with you, do what you will.
If the shoe fits, wear it, bitches.
Right. Is that they go on social media when they don't even know how to market themselves properly. And, and it's like, they're going to Cara thinking that they're going to like build an audience there, when again, they're wasting their time, because a small platform is not going to give you the same results as a platform that everybody else is on, that all the, I don't know, the normies that you're trying to sell to.
What? You're just going to find a giant circle jerk of artists.
Right. Exactly. Now, we've spoken about this before, about, like artists, like you need to find it. Creators are not your audience. That whole concept, you were trying to, like parse it, create,
right.
Not saying that creators can't be part of your audience.
But that shouldn't be who all you're trying to
reach.
Right. That shouldn't be your only net.
They are not your audience as a whole.
No.
Right. And the real issue with that is that for as many artists as are on that are moving to Cara, it is still a significant drop in the bucket to the audience that you are exposed to on Instagram.
Right.
To the
or Facebook.
The general audience.
Right.
And so it's like, so I'm trying to parse this information, right? Where, she's saying that, you see, the problem with artists is that we only know how to market to other artists. We don't know how to market to the population at large. Right. And the example that she gave is that the hashtags that are used, that artists usually use, like, it's like, oh, gouache, watercolor. Oh, this is a mixed media, acrylic, whatever, right? These hashtags.
Who does that attract?
Right. The average person, you go outside your door, the average person have no fucking idea what any of that means, right? Those are literally hashtags for other artists.
Right.
And by attracting other artists, you are not attracting people who will actually buy your work. Again, not saying that another artist won't buy your work, but if you're actually trying to use social media to sell, to grow your audience, other artists are not the people you want to attract. Thus, the problem with Cara. All you're doing is talking to other artists. You're not talking.
We're not saying don't use Cara, because Cara is a beautiful setup if you want
it really
a platform to refer other people to.
Yeah.
But don't abandon your audience.
Right.
To go to Cara. That's
right. Exactly. Right. So that was also.
We got to break it down, because I swear to God, I got my ass jumped for saying.
Absolutely.
I'm like,
I know.
Motherfuckers is projecting, because that is not what I said.
Right. It's like, it's like, because they're arguing with the imaginary version of you in their head. They're not actually arguing with what you're saying.
Smack her around a bit. She likes that shit.
Right. So she was saying that, so it's like, so artists go on social media, they go on platforms like Twitter, like Instagram, and they don't have a clear idea as to what exactly they want out of that platform. Right. So I had mentioned that I like Cara. I like the platform Cara. But my expectation for Cara, my expectation for it is that it's a portfolio, that I'm using it as a portfolio that I can send people to, like when maybe like, because it's just an easier thing for them to look at without like sending them to a website that has all my other links and a lot of other
banners and all that.
It's very focused. It's a very focused portfolio. So that's what I use Caro for. I mean, it's like, yeah, I'm kind of interacting with other artists, but I'm not putting, and I did pay for their $50 for a year. I pledged $50 for the year to their fund. Because that was, I think, the least I could do, right? I won't give a dime to like Facebook or Instagram or whatnot, but this being a small independent platform, I'm willing to do that. But I'm very clear about what I'm using Caro for.
Right.
I didn't have a problem deleting my archive. I didn't delete my account. I deleted my archive. I left a referral link to my other links on my Instagram. I didn't feel bad doing that because nothing was going on Instagram for me anyway.
Yeah, good on you guys that can make Instagram work.
Right.
I'm I'm done.
It's what Nita was saying, kind of like reassessing what all these platforms are doing, right? But another thing that she had brought up that had me kind of thinking, related to this whole artists don't know how to market their work to non-artist people.
Right.
Let's just put it that the normies, or whatnot, the average person who is not an artist, right? But are interested in art, but it's not that deep type of thing.
Right.
It's like, like they don't give a shit if it's watercolor. They don't know what it is. They don't know what gouache is. All they know is that, oh, does this fit an aesthetic that I'm looking for? Does this match my sofa? Does this target my personal interest? Does this target my personal interest? And the question had popped up is that how much of our marketing actually has to do with the person we're trying to attract? Like, there's what we think we're doing is marketing. And then there's what's actually what actually the potential customer is actually seeing, right? So I was kind of like having a hard time parsing this because it's like, it's kind of like a Venn diagram. It's like what we think the audience wants, what the audience actually wants, right? And then it's like trying to find that middle part of the Venn diagram.
Right.
And I was thinking, it's like, yeah, it's like, we're on Kickstarter. A lot of us are on Kickstarter. A lot of us are on conventions. We're talking about, it's like, oh, what we think the audience wants. Oh, this and that and the other thing. It's like, oh, but have you ever actually put yourself in the mindset of somebody looking at your stuff for the first time? You know what I mean? Like, this is always something that I've always kept in the back of my head when it was first mentioned to me. When I was first told, oh, your campaign, my very first campaign, it wasn't first timer friendly. You're talking to people as if they know you already.
Right.
And most people don't. Your fans already know you, so you don't need to talk to them. They already know what you're doing. But the person who doesn't know you, they need to know who you are first. You can't talk to them like they're fans already because they're not.
Right.
And I've always kept that in the back of my head. And with this conversation, that came to the forefront. What is it like? If you were somebody at a convention or whatever, you're scrolling through Kickstarter and you saw your own book and didn't know what it was, what is actually attracting you to your book? What is actually, as a consumer, as the customer, as this potential
so deep
fan,
before breakfast?
Well, this is anxiety. This is the anxiety talking. And it's like, we spend a lot of time on social media, like trying to like sell our stuff. But who are we actually selling to? And it's like, we talked about the marketing books, right? The 1 hour marketing plan, whatever that book is called.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and and the first thing they do is they tell you, know your audience. Right? It's like, create your audience avatar, and then target your sales, with this person in mind. Right? And a lot of times when I'm looking around, and even for myself, it's like, am I really doing that? Right. Am I really marketing towards this hypothetical person? Or am I just like, just talking about my book, but not really engaging the audience the way I think I am? So that's kind of like what this video got me started on, like really started thinking about. It's like, and it's like I don't know, it's like, so what's your thought on this idea? Is this a mistake that you're seeing a lot? I mean, it's like, is this something that you see on your end?
You see it all the time. But then the question comes in, well, then what do you do?
Right.
Okay, so a hashtag's not going to fucking save you. A hashtag's not going to fucking find you. In fact, on most social media platforms, hashtags are actually becoming irrelevant. It's keywords.
Right.
But the only way you can grow your audience, especially on social media, is by being genuine. You're going to have to post shit that interests you, that's not your shit, and other stuff that's going to bring people over.
Right.
That if they like this, they might like it, but you can do that without saying it. You have to go and be genuine. I'll give you a perfect example. You like the sexy books. You're trying to push the sexy books. What grabs people's attention? Oh, sexy fucking art, sexy fucking movies, whatever. Like, you have to grow. It's horrible, because it's like, you have to grow yourself to push your fucking product. If people are interested in you, they're more likely to be interested in what you're doing.
Right.
Because you're going to have that common ground. Go out into the other fantasy fucking groups. Go out into just that.
Well, yeah,
the mistake is everybody wants to pump and dump.
Right.
And
nobody likes that.
We've been doing this for a minimum of 4 years now, people.
Right. Yeah.
4 years now. Like, and so, like, what is the definition of madness and insanity?
Right. Yeah.
Doing the same thing over and expecting a different result. Y'all motherfuckers is just recycling the same old bullshit over. You're not engaging, you're not growing, you're not networking out, and then you wonder why you're not doing better.
Yeah. Because that was the thing that she was talking about too. The fact that,
and goddamn mailing list. Get a fucking mailing list.
That's true too.
God, I can't even stress that enough to people. Mailing lists are
right, because that's the audience you control.
Yes. And you take it with you. That's another thing. If your fucking top social media platform fails, let me tell you something. The decline of Twitter about broke me, and I almost gave up, because that's where my fucking reach was. That's where my audience was best. And within days of Musk taking over, I lost my entire fucking audience. I had no idea what I was going to do. I was scrambling. I barely had 2,000 people following me on Facebook at the time. I went into a fucking panic. It's like, what can I do now?
Right. Yeah.
Like, so you have to be prepared to be able to take that fucking audience with you, because a platform can bottom out and just fall out from underneath you at any moment in time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because she mentioned mailing lists in the video, but her thing was the thing about, you have to build your community, right? You have to, we keep hearing that word, right?
But that's just it. How do you become a community?
And and she's taught, and then she was mentioning like the issue also that the mistake that she sees artists makes is that they make their net too broad. They cast too wide of a net.
Right.
And the example that she gave was, say you're doing fantasy art, right? Typing in, it's like just limiting yourself to like hashtag fantasy is too broad of a scope.
Right.
Because okay, what kind of fantasy? There's all these different kinds of fantasy. Just because something is fantasy doesn't mean you like everything, right?
Right.
And then not only that, the broader your net, the more competition there is. So to use me as an example, using the word unicorn is almost meaningless in search results. It's like there was a specific, it's like, and just as an example, there was a specific thing I was looking for. There was a specific stamp. I used to have it when I was a kid, a rubber stamp. And I don't remember, I lost it or something, right? So it was a rubber stamp with a unicorn on it, but it was a very specific type of unicorn. So typing in unicorn, it's like I got all the rainbows and the whole thing.
Right.
It's like the whole, you could only imagine all the kids stuff and the coloring books and the plush animals and the stickers and everything, right? I mean, it's like you couldn't have given me a more useless search, because of that. It's just way too
But during that useless search, did stuff distract you? Did you look at shit that you weren't looking for?
You know what? No, I didn't find in that search on its own, I didn't find anything, not even a distraction, like, oh, what's this? No, it was just all like the really generic child stuff. Never mind. Right? So it's like, okay, so how do I find this image, right? So it's like, okay, it's a heraldic unicorn, right? It's a medieval unicorn, right? So now we're being specific, right? So I'm typing that in, and already the search is narrowing down to what I'm looking for. Typing in medieval unicorn, that's where the distraction started. That's where I started seeing artwork. It's like, oh, I like that, and almost forgetting about the rubber stamp I was looking for. Right, exactly, right. But then it's like, oh, okay, medieval is still, I still need to narrow it down. So I type in, medieval heraldic unicorn. And then I was able to find one image of exactly what I was looking for, but it wasn't a rubber stamp. Turns out I might have to get this rubber stamp customized, just to get.
Do you not know how to work linoleum at all?
Oh, I've done that in the past, but I just can't be bothered.
I can throw you a fucking stamp together, bro.
So it's like, okay, I'll challenge accepted. I'll give you the image, because I used to do that in school, like the little and low, and also it's like I follow some artists.
You have any tools at your house? I'll do it while I'm there, because I don't
right? It's like we can do
my clay shit or tools anymore.
Right, we can do linoleum stamps while you're here, like a little craft section. What are you doing? We're doing crafts. We went to Michael's and we were doing crafts. So yeah, but the thing is, though, it really did show me like how important it was to narrow down, what specifically I was looking for. And this is me as a customer, right? So same thing with like Eagle Raven. Putting in a unicorn would have been completely useless. Right. It's like you would have never have seen her in any of the search results, right? But if you type in unicorn girl and get more specific, then you start seeing things shift. Although the competition there is rather fierce.
Yeah, it is.
But more distracting to me. Because like, oh, someone did this, someone did that. It's like, oh, look at this, So then it's like, unicorn girl comic, unicorn girl fantasy comic. It's like, learning how to use specifics, to find that audience member, right? And then it's like, and then on top of it, it's like, it's just like, okay, and then what about the little side doors, right? The little side exits, right? It's like, oh, here's the door for people who like Renaissance festivals.
Here's
the people who like playing D&D. Here's the door for the people who like ElfQuest, right? I mean, it's like I'm beginning to find authors who are, well, I found one author, but it's a start.
All roads lead to ElfQuest.
Who mentions ElfQuest as being one of the reasons why they started writing novels, which I found really interesting, because just because you're reading ElfQuest doesn't mean you're a comic fan. Right. So logically, we should be using comic books as, as a marketing title, as a hashtag, right? Or a keyword. Problem is, what comic books? It's like, is the person who's reading Mouse the same person who's going to read Batman? It's like, hey Tom. So it's like, so just saying comics is not going to lead anybody to you as well. Then it's like, you have to narrow it down. Fantasy comics, it's like, and then even then it's like, is it urban fantasy? Is it, other?
Oh my God, no, because if you sit there with that mindset, you're gonna be like, it's Bob, we had a baby, it's a boy.
Right? Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like,
oh my God, yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness.
You still have to cast broad too.
Right.
Don't forget that. Don't forget the importance when you're utilizing hashtags, which I think are pretty much irrelevant.
Well,
now.
but the thing is though, it's like,
definitely narrow it down.
You need to narrow it down if you really want to find
one or two wide nets in there.
Right. Because if I was looking for a book like Eager Raven, the first thing I would type into Google is not comic books. Because again, it's too broad of a net. If I'm looking for something specific, like if I'm looking for ElfQuest, typing in comic books isn't going to get me to find them. I have to type in specifics. Like if I literally wanted to look now to see what other unicorn comics are out there, again, typing in comic books is not going to find me anything.
Right.
I would have to type in unicorn comic books, unicorn fantasy comic books, unicorn medieval fantasy, whatever. It's like medieval, I would have
unicorn titty fantasy comics, lesbian, maybe a little bit of the hit and miss.
And then Viking slut pops up. So who knows?
Then I'm one step closer, right?
Right, exactly. So, but that's kind of like, as a customer, like if I wanted to find other unicorn books, or other, or like other books similar to ElfQuest, or other like fantasy books similar to whatever, it's like, I already know that I can't be too generic. I already know. It's like, well, I already have an idea what I'm looking for. That's part of the search. That's automatically out the gate part of my search. I don't like, it's like, it's like, if you need to buy a new car, you don't just type into Google car.
I know he didn't.
It was epic, Tom.
It was epic.
We were only doing it for a fucking year.
Ever.
It's like, if you're looking for a car, right? If you're looking for a car, you don't just type into Google car. It's like you type in, it's like used cars, news cars. You actually, by that point, you already kind of have an idea as to what hatchback or something, pickup truck. You already know sedan. I'm already
just saying words.
Right. It's like, it's like you already have an idea what it is you're looking for. So you don't need to cast that broad net. And I guess that her accusation pretty much is that that's what artists do.
Right.
We treat the internet, we treat our audience like all we have to do is cast a broad net, when that's not what they're there. If our potential customers are not looking for us that way, why are we looking for them that way?
Huh.
You know what I mean? Is this making sense?
Fine.
And that's kind of like what I was thinking is that when we market, are we really marketing in a way that actually attracts an audience? that actually attracts the audience that we want, you know? Or are we just like, oh, well, this is what my book is.
Well, if you're seeing growth,
then
yeah.
Right. Well, that's the idea, right? Right. You know, I mean, yeah, because it's like, you know, because in the end, that's kind of like the only marker that we have, right?
Right.
Is like, if we're seeing more backers, if we're, you know, not necessarily how much money we raise on Kickstarter, because that can be jobbed. We already know that can be jobbed, and it's not indicative of anything except that you might have an expensive campaign, right? But it's the backers, right? So it's like, if you get more backers, that means something. You know, it's like, okay, something is working. Look, it's like, look, with Viking Slut, I learned a lot from that campaign, you know, and you know, what did I learn? I learned that I gained the most backers I ever got on any of my campaigns. Right. But
we also learned not
to put slut in the title. But I attracted a very large female audience looking for very specific things. You know, so, but the problem is that I'm not in a position right now to cater to that.
Right.
You know, that's the thing. It's like, so unfortunately, it's like, am I missing out on an opportunity? Maybe, but that's the chance I'm just going to have to take. Especially with the way that romance novels are like like they're bestsellers all over the world type of thing, you know, right now. Second to Dogman. Second to Dogman. Was there an unintentional overlap that I did? Maybe. But like I said, I just don't have the time right now to cater to that. Do I want to write another Viking Slut story in the future? Absolutely. I have it scripted. I have it outlined right now. So there is a story that I would like to do again, you know, and do this again. Will it work the second time? I don't know. But it just has to wait. I'm just willing to take that chance. So that was like that was like one thing that I was like really thinking about, that it's like, oh, okay, am I doing it? It's like, you know, it's like, have I been doing the same thing over and over and over again for the past like 3.5 years? Or, you know, or it's like, is there something to this? You know, it's like, also another thing too, that also, kind of had me thinking as well. This is from another author that I was watching. And I've spoken about her before, where she did like this grind for 5 years writing 40 books, right? Because she wanted to build up a foundation so that she could build up to writing the novels that she really wanted to write, right? So the oddest thing that so pretty much this was her grinding out 40 books according to trends, according to tropes, very much catering to the market. Like she was the opposite. She only wrote according to what was popular at that moment, right? So it's like, so she was completely catering, like looking at what people were buying, and whatever was hot, that's what she wrote to. Right. So it's like,
fuck these trends.
You know, right. Yeah, it's like, you know, she was right. Exactly. You know, that was really weird. But I just saw your chair bouncing. It's like, oh, wait, what?
You liked it.
So, but the oddest thing that she had said in that entire thing was that she wrote 40 books, and her average score on Goodreads for all these books would not go higher than, I think, like 3.5 stars out of 5. Right? And she was very frustrated with that idea. And that confused me. Because
do you know how many authors can never get a single star?
You know, right. I mean, considering, right? You know?
Right.
But it's like, you know, here's this woman who wrote 40 books in 5 years. And her audience was essentially telling her books were entertaining. Right. They read her books. They were entertaining, but it was nothing special. It's like, it was great for that moment. And then they moved on. Right. And she was very frustrated by that. And that got me thinking about another thing too, where as creators, none of us, not a one of us, ever thinks, oh boy, I'm making a really shitty book. Nobody thinks that way.
No.
Nobody really.
Not even people that need to be.
But it's like nobody thinks that way. It's like, oh, I'm doing it. Nobody thinks that they're making a shitty book, right?
No.
But
this is the greatest story ever told.
But the one thing that I began realizing, and I kind of, I kind of tested this question with Jose, is which is worse? Having people not talk about your work at all, which is actually pretty common because like we hear the whole thing. It's like, oh yeah, I buy all these books on Kickstarter, but I never read them.
Oh yeah, we hear that.
So I don't know. We hear that all the time. It's like the joke is that collecting comics and reading comics are two different things.
Y'all some rich motherfuckers because
collecting
I'm
books
buying
and
it, I'm reading
books
it.
Are two different things, right? That's the joke even in novels. Collecting novels and reading novels are two different hobbies. Right. Same thing with comics, right? That we kind of get a sense of. Collecting comics and reading comics are two different hobbies. And we hear this all the time. Oh yeah, I bought that book, but I never read it. I have a pile of books, that I've never read, that I bought off a Kickstarter and never read, right? So which is worse then, knowing this? That they never read your book and don't talk about it because of it? Like which is worse? Nobody talking about your book or saying that they did read it, but it was average. It's like, I was entertained by it, but I moved on. I read it, had a good time, moved on.
Absolutely being average is better. Being average is better than being non-existent. 3 stars is better than none. A C is a fucking passing grade.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, Jesus.
But when I threw this question at Jose, he was actually horrified by it. Yeah, I would think so too, Rob. I think now here's the thing though. I'm not saying that I want to hear people coming out say, "Oh, your book is shit." No. Like I don't want to hear that either, right? It's like
nobody does.
Wants to hear that.
Nobody wants to hear that, right?
But would you rather hear, "Oh, I never read your book. I bought your book, but I never read it." Or, "Oh, I read your book and I had a really good time. It was nice.
Okay. It was nice.
It was okay. It was nice.
I'm okay with nice and okay.
Right? It was okay. It was average. It was an average book.
Right.
But like I said, Jose was horrified at the idea.
But why?
That it's like, why would you want to be? Why
you'd rather just be collecting dust?
The word that I used was mid.
Mid? Well, that's kind of
it's like what if would you rather hear nothing or would you rather hear that your book was mid?
Still rather hear mid than nothing.
It just means that your book is average, right?
Right.
And it's like that's like that was like the worst thing. Would you want somebody to say your book is mid? Well, it's like, well, at least I'm not.
At least they read it.
At least they read it, right? But in the end, though, what am I really like getting upset about if somebody said that my book was mid, that my book was average, right? What's my book about? It's about a fantasy comic about a unicorn girl. I mean, could you be any more basic?
Right.
I mean, it's about as basic as friggin' pumpkin spice latte, right?
Oh my God.
It's like as basic as pumpkin spice. Hey, John,
Right.
So it's like, so in the end, if somebody calls my book average, it's like, well, I'm not writing literature. I'm not writing fucking Lord of the Rings, So it's like, so what would I be expecting from that? At least you read it, right?
Right. Yes.
It's like,
I prefer the feedback.
Right. It's like,
are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
I mean, for real. It's like, in the end, what am I expecting from people who read my book? Are you not entertained? Did I entertain you? Did I at least entertain you?
Did you finish?
It's like, it's like, what more would I want as a creator? Right.
Right.
It's like, is it sound? I mean, it's like, I don't want you to hate it. Like, that's not the reason why I'm writing this book and doing this book, It's like, but it's like, my intention is not for you to hate the book.
Right. Right.
So it's like, if you say, it's like, oh yeah, it was an average fantasy. People who like, and the thing is though, it's like, what the fuck is Robert Jordan?
Long-winded and boring.
Is an average fantasy. Whether you get through it or not, it's like, or it's like Brandon Sanderson. It's an average fantasy. It's like, are you entertained? Right? So it's like, so and to realize that there are a lot of people who they would be horrified at the thought of of putting out their comic and having somebody go, oh yeah, it was fine. It was, it's like, oh yeah, I had a good time. I had a good time. I was entertained. Right. It's like, yeah, it's like you wrote an average fantasy story that I had a good time with.
Right.
This woman wrote 40 books and at least people enjoyed every one. Lou says there are plenty of books out there that totally rock but aren't scheduled for the big screen ever. People will find what they like regardless. Right. So that also kind of leads me to like the other thought, again, putting it back on the audience member, that it's like that we can only guess we're writing a good story.
Right.
That's really only the audience that could tell us if we wrote a good story. Like, I like to think I wrote a good story, but I'm not going to tell somebody looking at my book, oh yeah, this is like tops, man. Like, that's like fucking embarrassing. It's like, this is top shelf shit, man. Oh I don't know that. I don't know.
And you guys do that. It's like, who are you?
Right. It's like this is like this is, you want to read good stories. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean that it's yours.
Last year's hit returns. What it hit.
It's like, it's like saying it's a good story is like, I never use that as a selling point because only the reader can tell me that.
Right.
Like, yeah, I'd like to think I wrote a good story. I'd like to think I wrote an entertaining story, but I don't use it as a selling point because I can't say that without bias.
Well, you get 4.5 stars for me. Why did I keep that half star?
Why?
Not enough porn.
Well, like I said, that comes, that's what it is, That's the other book. That's the other book that I'm not committed to writing right now. So that's kind of like, so I'm kind of wondering like how much of that gets in the way of us being able to market to this audience. Because it's like when you out the gate say, oh, this is a great book. This is the best book. This is better than
oh my gosh.
This is better than that. This is better than that.
Oh my god.
I mean, because because honestly, to me, that's setting yourself up for failure. That's really setting yourself up. Because if you're going to tell me this is the best book, it better fucking be the best book. And if I just get mid, you just fucked yourself.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I had to do
because I'd rather, it's like, look, it's like, well, if I'm interested in your book anyway, I would hope I would at least be entertained. If I'm reading a fantasy book because I like fantasy books and I pick up your fantasy book, I at least want to be entertained by it.
Right.
You know, it's like, really, it's like, as much as people say, oh, you got to be original and this, that, and the other thing, and you can't be like everybody else. It's like, calm down. You know, if I'm looking for another fantasy book, I'm looking for something that at least fits the bill of what I like. You know, it's like, I'm not looking for somebody to reinvent the wheel.
There's nothing new under the sun. It was Eddie Izzard said it in Dressed to Kill.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as original sin. What are they going to say? Like, I poked a badger with a spoon. Like, you know?
Right. You know, it's like, if I'm looking for a fantasy comic, I'm looking for very specific things. I'm looking for, you know, I'm looking for the tropes. Look, Tolkien already invented it. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to hold yourself to a higher standard to Tolkien. Okay? So you don't have to worry about it. So relax. You know? It's like, right. It's like Alan Moore already did it. Frank Miller already did it. You know, you don't have to worry about, you know, Neil Gaiman already did it. You know, they already did whatever was special in that genre. Right. You don't have to worry about meeting that level, you know, because it's like, if I'm interested in your book, I'm going to be interested. You got me already.
Right.
You know,
right.
You don't have to overselling. You don't have to oversell it. Right. Just, what's the story? Okay. I'm interested. I'm in. You right. got me on that. You know, now whether it's an actual good story, that's for me. And even then, it depends on my mood.
Huh.
So I could change at any time. You know? So yeah, so are we, so I guess like what I'm trying to get at is that, are we, you know, for all this talk about marketing and what we should be doing and platforms and hashtags and everything, are we really targeting an audience properly? You know, or are we kind of like so stuck in our heads when it comes to our work that it's like, fuck you, you either like it or you don't like it.
Huh.
You know, it's kind of like, sometimes it feels like that, you know, and it's like, yeah, sometimes it does feel like that. You know, it's like, well, I'm writing my story the way I like it. You either like it or you don't. And it's like, well, sure. Okay. That's true too. That can be true too. But there's a certain way, there's a finesse to that. There's a finesse to advertising like that. Right. Actually, C says, actually, the audience are looking to digest something they're familiar with. And if it has a twist, they'll love it after the fact. Right. You know, if they feel, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Exactly. You know, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Right. Exactly. So it's like saying, you know, fuck you, you either like it or you don't. You know, it's like, that's not, you know, no, it's like, come on. You know, maybe you'll talk to your friends like that, but you know, to someone who doesn't know you,
right.
Finesse it a bit. It's like, well, this is what the story is about. Does it, you know, it's like, so, you know, it's like, you know, if it resonates, take a chance on it. You know, but yeah, I'm not going to say, you know, oh, this is a great story, you're going to love it. I hate, honestly, it's like, I had somebody actually try to pull that shit in my DMs, and I'm like going, delete.
Haha.
You don't tell me what to do. Because that's also the thing. It's like, you're telling me what to do. And it's like, no, you don't tell me what to do. You don't put baby in a corner. You don't tell me what to do. You know? So it's like, yeah, so that's, yeah. So maybe in a sense that kind of marketing angle that some people take, that very arrogant, it's a very arrogant marketing angle.
It turns,
you know, but conversely, just being entertaining is not a sin either.
Right.
You know, just, yeah, it's like, you know, it's okay to be mid. You know, it's like, you know what? Average is all I'm expecting from my campaign right now. Just be average. Please be average. You know, I'm okay with average. I'm okay if people say, you know, I really liked your book.
Right.
You know, there are plenty of books
that it was good work.
Right, it was good. You know, yeah. It's like, oh, you know, well done. you know? And it's like, look, conversely, there are books that I love that I don't remember shit from. I just remember how it made me feel. And that's what resonates with me, you know, but I can't remember shit about the book.
Right.
You know? But like I can't remember names, you know, character names. It's like, but it's like I remember how that book made me feel. So
right.
You know, so there's that too. And I think that a lot of creators are just like I said, like they're too stuck in their head. Like they really do think they're writing high literature. You know, and it's like, oh, and if you don't treat, and if they get anything less, it's a disappointment. And it's like that, no, you're only sabotaging yourself with that.
Right.
You know, now I'm not saying don't have a high standard for your work. I'm not saying that at all.
Hojo.
You know, oh, hey, Hojo. Oh, there we go. Hojo says I'm low mid and I'm sort of okay with that. Well,
low mid is successful, yo.
Look, it's like,
but I don't think you're low mid, okay,
right?
Bro?
You know, I mean, it's like, look, are you entertaining? Are people are the people entertained by your work? Then you did your job. You know, I mean, and yeah, that's because really, it's like that's how. Oh, it's like, oh, I'll love it. Okay, then I don't need to buy it and read it. Then I wouldn't want to burst your ego bone. No, absolutely, that's what it comes off as. You know, when you tell me, oh, you'll love it. That's why that's why I kind of like when Jose says, oh, are they good? Like when I like something and he goes, oh, or like I'm reading, are they good? And it's like I can't answer that.
Right.
I can't.
I like it. I like it.
I like it. You know, knowing Jose has very high standards, it's always safe to say that no, you wouldn't like it. It's always safe to assume, you know. But yeah, so that's what, you know. So yeah, so that's the anxiety thought for today, you know, where it's like, you know, am I marketing correctly, you know, and it's like, and you know, is it okay to just find out that it's like, you know what, people were entertained. The people were entertained, but you didn't do anything special. You know, I mean, it's like, yeah, in the end, it's like how silly, as much as the story that I'm writing for Eagle Raven resonates with me. I mean, that's in the end, it's why I'm writing it. Right. And I love sharing it with everybody, but you know, you're going to get your own experience out of that book. You're going to get your own experience out of my book. And it's like, and sometimes it's just that, oh, it was a good story. I was entertained. Right. You know, all the angsty scenes that I was hoping to get, like these really like, oh my God, I can't believe she did that. It's like, okay, I never got that.
You know? Yes, you did once.
You know,
for sure.
Well, for what? But you know what's funny? That was not the scene I was expecting.
Well, that scene almost cost us our friendship, Daphne.
You know, look, I was the one that had to write it. That scene was traumatic for me. But there were other scenes that I was expecting, you know, certain things, and I didn't get, you know, so, but you know, but in the end, it's like, look, this story is always going to be closer to me than it is to anybody else.
And different scenes are going to be taken differently for it's going to all depend on the life experience. It builds up to that point with Mr. President. Like, there's so much behind that.
Yeah. You know, so
because there's a scene that you wrote that probably meant jack shit to you, but to me it was like, oh yeah.
Wait till you read it in prose. You know, but yeah, you know, so yeah, so it's just like, it's like, yeah, it's like, are we our own? We're our own. Like how, like, you know, it's. We're all delusional up to a point.
Right, for sure.
You know, we're all delusional up to a point that we all, like, you know, we put so much of our heart and souls into these books that we do. And it's like, and we like to think that the person reading it, who is not familiar with us, who don't know us, who are seeing this for the first time, that they'll have the same reaction that of us, of how we feel putting this effort into our work. Right. But that's we have no control over that.
No.
You know, it's like, and it's like, yeah, it's like we have no control over that. And it's like, we have to decide whether it's like, okay, well, what level of delusion are we on? I guess.
Everybody's a little crazy.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you're making up worlds in your head. You're fucking nuts.
Right. Exactly. Acting out scenes, acting out dialogue, just to make sure it sounds right. I mean, it's like,
right.
Nutty, but yeah, so that's what this whole thing, had me kind of like thinking, that it's like, not only do we have to have like kind of realistic expectations for our social media presence. What is it we're trying to accomplish on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Kara? What are our expectations? Are we just expecting to just show up and people all of a sudden, the adoring fans show up? It's not how that works.
You entitled pricks.
Right, exactly. That's not how that works, right? But but at the same time, it's like, what are our expectations for our own work? Are we selling, are we representing it correctly? Again, it's like, are we putting ourselves in that potential fans that they're not fans yet, but like, are we putting ourselves correctly in their heads? It's like, and are we showing them, are they seeing what we think we're showing them?
Right.
And it's like, and then it's just like, depending on like, okay, so what do I do with this information then? Knowing that it's like, okay, maybe I was casting too wide of a net. How do I narrow it down? What do I do with this information? Where do I go? Do I even really want to put in the work? That's also another thing too. I mean, because I'm fucking tired.
Woo.
I mean, they call it a grind for a reason, right? It's like, look, what else also has a funnel? A fucking meat grinder. And sometimes that's exactly what it feels like. And it's like, okay, knowing what I know all this now, am I realistically going to do anything with this information? And am I willing to accept the consequences of not doing anything and what that means? Because it's like, if you're not going to do anything and then bitch about how you're doing nothing and nothing is happening.
I'm booting this dude.
Put
user in timeout.
Well, yes, of course I'm overthinking it. What else am I going to do? I'm in my first campaign week. This is the part. This is the part where we start overthinking the campaign. I mean, honestly, there are days I would love to not think about it at all. To just be able to just put a campaign, not give a shit. And it's like, look, however it
You mean like Jose does? He's like, fuck it, it's out.
Well, no, but the thing is, though, he has you see, what he doesn't tell you is that he has just as much anxiety about his campaigns, too. He just doesn't talk about it in public. So yeah, so it's like, yeah, I would love to be able to just put a campaign up and say, fuck it. It sells. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And that's it. But that's not what happens.
No.
Even when we try to not care, we care. We really care. It's just, like I said, it's like, are we willing to accept the consequences of deciding it's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not going to do anything. I'm getting off this hamster wheel. And understanding what the consequences are. That it's like, okay, the growth is going to be even shorter. It's going to be even smaller. Yes, as he internalizes his pain.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, Lou says, I realize that I'm putting in too much work on art that is only viewed for a split second on a phone screen. Well, that's also another thing, too. Yeah, when you consider that I think the average person, they spend like less than 30 seconds looking at something, but it depends on the work that you're doing, right? Because also it's like, you don't want to cater, then you're just making content. That's what these AI assholes are doing. They're just grinding.
My average image post is viewed for 5.2 seconds. Now, there are a few standouts. Those are the higher hitting ones.
Emotional damage.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but again, but Lou, I wouldn't worry too much about catering to those people. I mean, if you're doing artwork that you're proud of, that's the important part. The fact that, it's pearls before swine,
Right.
that's, that's a completely different thing, I mean, because in the end, we're the ones that have to like the work that we're putting out. And it's like, look, like I said, it's like, we don't want to be like these AI assholes, where it's like, they're just typing in a keyword and getting like 37 different, options that they put all of them online because they know you're just going to look at it like this. Doesn't matter. But to us, it matters. That's what differentiates us from those guys. That's what differentiates us from the AI. The fact that it does matter. Every stroke matters. Every paint stroke, every watercolor texture, every piece of hair. It's like, that matters to us. It doesn't matter to a generator. So it's like, that's so it's like, yeah, it matters to us, so we have to make sure that it continues mattering to us,
right?
But when it comes to selling online, though, it's like, okay, we have to think about, okay, what's the customer looking at? If a customer is going to look at an ad for 5 seconds, what are they seeing in that 5 seconds? If they're looking at your piece for 5 seconds, is that 5 seconds matters,
right?
As to
because that 5 seconds is that pause,
right?
Because if not, it's this,
right?
And I've done this.
Yeah. It's like, if you're putting out a post to sell your, to push your Kickstarter, what are you saying in that 5 seconds? That's why they tell you not to put all that, gobbledygook and a lot of text on your thing and, on your image. You need it as clean as possible because people are only seeing it for 5 seconds. Oh my God.
I cannot stress to people enough, and they won't stop.
Right.
Templates have very, 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 very low views. Very low views. Like, people just pass that shit right up because your ad looks like an ad. The moment you look like you're trying to sell something to someone, you've lost them.
Right. And here's the thing. If you were seeing your own ad, if you were seeing your graphic, your template, and, if you were your own customer, if you were somebody, again, putting yourself in that mindset, you create a thing. If I didn't know what this was, how would I react to it?
Right.
As a potential fan, hopefully, right?
And the platforms themselves are not in your favor. We've brought this up before, but I'm going to mention this one more time. There is a read on Facebook.
Yeah.
If you have more than, it's either 15 or 20% text on an image, guess what? You're automatically at the bottom of the fucking feed.
Right. Unless you're a meme, apparently.
Memes are different. I don't know how it judges that. I don't understand how it works. But if you create your own fucking graphic and you go through and the text percentage is over a certain ratio, they have tools you can download online that will read that for you. If it's over that certain percentage, you're down at the fucking bottom.
Right.
So keep that in mind.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so that was so this is so yes, this is the first week campaign anxiety thing that I go through. Yes, I do overthink it, but then if I didn't overthink it, we wouldn't have a show.
Yeah, right. Overthinking for your viewing pleasure.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's just what it is. So any final thoughts about anything that I said here?
No, I mean, I just spit my thoughts as we go.
Right.
It's like, I don't know, man. It's too much pressure, Daphne. Too much pressure.
There is. I think so. But I mean, is it really pressure, or do we just like create it ourselves? We just create this pressure ourselves.
Yes.
Yes on both. Yes on both. Oh my goodness! That's you know what? It's getting hot in the office again. It was cool for a little bit. Now it's back. I think the clouds are, letting the sun come through. So I think that's it for me for today. So, so no final thoughts. No final thoughts.
Go back some fucking campaigns. There's a bunch of good ones. Hit up Ego Raven. Hit up Alton Spec. Don't forget freaking. Oh, almost said Nightwolf. Rob.
Right. No, his is closed. We have the Oswald Chronicles.
Oswald Chronicles.
Right.
There's a lot of active campaigns right now. Check them out. Support your fucking fellow creators.
Right.
Do the thing.
And actually read the goddamn books.
Read the goddamn books.
Right. Be entertained. At least. Oh my gosh. So I would like to thank everybody in the chat for joining us today. Thank you so much. And yes, I'd like to also thank our beautiful eyeball people watching us from regions beyond. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, as well. So, oh my God, just waking up early stuff. Actually, working out the gate is what I'm getting used to. So thank you so much for joining us. So yeah, any schedule changes? Any schedules?
Nope. Schedule's the same as always.
Okay. All right. So that's it for us. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you want to learn more about me and my artwork and all my campaigns, and want to listen more about my anxiety, you can head on over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS, where you can find links to all of my galleries and social media sites, but I mostly post to Facebook. If you're interested in seeing sketches and current work in progress and any live updates that I might have at the moment. And you can also catch me on YouTube as well, where for my videos, all my videos and my semi-weekly art live streams, Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. This Wednesday, I will not be having a live stream. I'll make sure to get one live stream up next week. But so no live stream this Wednesday. But usually when I have them, it is on Wednesdays at 4 p.m., 4 to 6, 2 hours of me working and talking to the chat, pretty much kind of like being a convention without anyone worried about blocking a table. And also remember, you can read Ego Raven, Air the First Unicorn for free, uploading every day, Monday through Friday. You can check it out before you go head on over to the campaign. Link is in the show notes. This is the campaign for Volume 2 of Ego Raven, which collects issues 5 through 8 of this 15-issue series. All the books are available on the campaign, including Volume 1. So if you missed anything, it's on this campaign as well. Like I said, link is in the show notes below. But if you prefer your fantasy to be more of a furry Lord of the Rings adventure, you can follow the link over to Tall Tales. That's TAILSonline.com. And not only can you read the first 20 issues of Tall Tales for free, you can catch up on the latest story arc, Tears of the Mother, which is also currently uploading Monday through Friday. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us. And in the words of the ancients, eat your food, moisturize, mind your business, and do the work. Because when you actually do the work, you never have to fake any of your accomplishments. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you next time.
Hello.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.